Hello everyone, welcome to the Hockey Hub. I'm Brennan and today we're doing an awards prediction for the NHL 2020-2021 season. The 2021 season is almost upon us and I personally can't wait till puck drop. Obviously everything looks a little different this year with realigned divisions, a shortened season, and only playing within those realigned divisions. So obviously all these predictions that I do are probably going to be very wrong and I'd be happy just to get so much as one right, but we're going to start off with the Art Ross Trophy. Now, the Art Ross Trophy goes to the player that amasses the most points in the regular season, and for this year I have picked none other than Connor McDavid. Connor McDavid is the most offensively talented player in the NHL, and despite the fact that he hasn't actually led the NHL in points in each of the last two seasons, I think it's been too long since he's got himself an Art Ross Trophy, and I think playing against all the Canadian teams, I think he's going to rack up some serious points, and I fully expect McDavid to lead the league in points again. He's a tremendously talented player, probably the best player in the league, and I think he's going to be very fun to watch. Now, typically for the Hart Trophy, the player that wins the Art Ross a lot of times ends up winning the Hart Trophy. But this year, I'm going to say that Nathan MacKinnon finally gets himself the Hart Trophy. I think Colorado is going to have a much better year than Edmonton. To be honest, I'm not sure if Edmonton makes the playoffs, whereas Colorado, I think, is a lock, and I think MacKinnon is going to have another monster year and finish top 5 in scoring. Nathan MacKinnon is such a valuable player at both ends of the ice. He's good in the face-off circle, brings a strong defensive game, strong physical game, and obviously his offensive talent is second only to McDavid. MacKinnon is an absolute beast, one of my favorite players in the league, and I think it's about time that he gets himself his Hart Trophy. Now, the Lindsay Award is voted for the most spectacular or best player as voted upon by the players. So for this year, I think Connor McDavid is going to get himself another one of those again. The Lindsay, a lot of times, it goes to that best player in the league. We've seen Crosby and Ovechkin rack up a lot of these, so I think McDavid's going to get it, especially if he leads the league in points. Might not necessarily be the most valuable player, like I said with the Hart Trophy, but I think McDavid will get himself a Lindsay. But moving into the Norris Trophy, now the Norris Trophy is for the best defenseman in the NHL, and the definition on that kind of varies year to year. Some year they take your defensive game more into consideration, or some years they just look at strictly offense, like years where Brent Burns won. But this past year they kind of took both, and I think Roman Josi was the rightful winner. But for the 2020-2021 season, I think it's going to be Victor Hedman. It just feels like it's been too long since Victor Hedman won his last Norris Trophy, and I think that a bigger spotlight is going to be upon him since he did just win the Conn Smythe, and Nikita Kucherov being out an entire year means that Tampa Bay is probably going to have to play a more defense-oriented system, and I think Victor Hedman is going to have himself another monster year. So I expect Victor Hedman to win the Norris Trophy. But moving into the Vezina Trophy, now there's a lot of candidates for the Vezina Trophy here, and I'm going to go a little bit off the board, and I'm going to say the youngster Carter Hart picks up his first Vezina Trophy. I know that this isn't going to be a very popular pick because a lot of times young goalies don't necessarily get Vezina Trophies. Even if they've earned it, they kind of need a few years to be good, but I really think that Carter Hart is going to have a spectacular year, and I could see him bringing home a Vezina Trophy. I don't know if this is necessarily one that I would bet on or anything. There's so many good goaltenders in the league. Vasilevsky, Hellebuck, those guys are always going to be in the running for it, but I'm going to go a little off the board and say that Carter Hart gets his first. But then moving into the William M. Jennings Trophy, I'm actually going to take the tandem of Carey Price and Jake Allen to win the William M. Jennings Trophy. I don't know why, I just kind of got a good feeling about this tandem. I think it's one of the strongest tandems in the league, definitely top 3, and I think that both of these guys will probably benefit from seeing the Canadian teams a lot. Both of these guys have played well against the Canadian teams, and I just think that Montreal being a more defensive team this year, when you look at how strong and how defensively reliable their decor is with guys like Shea Weber, Ben Sherratt, Joel Edmondson, Jeff Petrie, and then the youngster Alexander Romanov. I think that this could lead to Carey Price and Jake Allen putting up really good numbers. Not necessarily bringing home the Vezina Trophy for Carey Price, but I think that these guys could get themselves a William M. Jennings Trophy. But then the Frank J. Selke Trophy is for the best defensive forward in the National Hockey League. Now, you always see the same guys in the running for this trophy because these guys have been so good, like Patrice Bergeron, Jonathan Toews, Ryan O'Reilly, but I think Mark Stone is going to get his first here. It kind of feels like we've all been waiting for Mark Stone to finally win that Selke Trophy, and I think that Vegas is going to have a great year, and I think Mark Stone is going to be one of the leading factors for that, and I think he's going to get himself a Selke Trophy. He's arguably the best defensive winger in the league. He's so good in his own zone, and he also brings a lot in the offensive zone. So I think that Mark Stone is going to win the Frank J. Selke Trophy. As far as the Jack Adams goes, this is always a hard one to predict because typically you see this award going to a team that didn't have a great year this past year but ends up turning it around. But as we saw, that isn't always necessarily the case with Bruce Cassidy winning it for the Boston Bruins this past season. But I'm going to say that Rod Brind'Amour gets himself the Jack Adams Trophy. I think Carolina is going to have an amazing year and probably finish top 5 in points in the NHL. And I think that Rod Brind'Amour's coaching style is going to be a big part of that. To me, Brind'Amour is one of the best coaches in the NHL. He coaches that team so well. They play such a fun style and a very effective style as well. So I think that Brind'Amour is going to be taking home his first Jack Adams Trophy. But then moving into some of the team awards, I think the President's Trophy is going to go to the Vegas Golden Knights. The Vegas Golden Knights obviously had a big offseason, getting the big fish in Alex Pietrangelo, and even before all their offseason moves, they were still one of the best teams in the NHL. I think that they're going to have a kind of an easy go in their division. Their only two real opponents are Colorado and St. Louis. No disrespect to the other teams, but the LA team, or the California teams, aren't exactly the strongest right now, and neither is Arizona or Minnesota. So I think that Vegas is going to have themselves a great year and probably bring home the President's Trophy, led by those guys like Pietrangelo and Stone and Robin Lehner. Now, as far as the Stanley Cup goes, this is the big award. This is the award that every single fan base wants their team to get, but I think that this year it is going to go to the Colorado Avalanche. I know this is a very popular pick, and probably, typically when everybody picks one team to win the Cup, they don't end up doing it, but I think that the Colorado Avalanche are just built for their Cup run. Nathan MacKinnon is one of, if not the best players in the NHL, and he was absolutely a dominant force in the playoffs, and pretty much has been any time he's gotten into the playoffs. And when you've got a supporting cast of Gabe Landeskog, Mikko Rantanen, Nadezhim Kadri, Andrei Burakovsky, Cale Makar, Samuel Girard, and then some of the new additions like Devon Taves and Brandon Saad, this team is simply stacked. The only question for them is goaltending, but I think when you got a team this good, if one of Grubauer or Francouz can catch fire in the playoffs, I think they should be just fine to win the Stanley Cup. And the final award we have is the Conn Smythe for the playoff MVP, and I think that if Colorado wins, then it has to go to Nathan MacKinnon. MacKinnon is a proven playoff beast, and I think if Colorado makes it all the way to the finals and wins, MacKinnon's definitely going to put up insane points and get himself a Conn Smythe trophy. I think if he does, that's going to make the argument even closer between him and McDavid, and if Colorado is able to bring home the Stanley Cup this year, and MacKinnon bring home the awards I said he would, like the Hart and the Conn Smythe, I think that would arguably put MacKinnon ahead of McDavid. But this is all just, speculation and predictions. Most of these are probably going to be wrong, if not all. But that's kind of the fun of doing these, I guess. You never know who's actually going to win these awards. It could be somebody completely off the board. But yeah. I will probably be getting into doing standings predictions for each of the 4 divisions coming up soon. I'm still working on doing the team previews right now. There isn't a lot of time before the start of the regular season, so I'm trying to balance everything out. But I appreciate you guys watching all these videos, and I appreciate you guys watching this video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys later. Bye for now.